This show is part of the RetroZap.com podcast network.
And welcome everybody to episode 95 of the Animaniacs.
Here it comes, our first feature-length script. Fabu.
It's brilliant. It's genius.
And most important of all, it's done. Hey, what do you know? We actually did it.
We wrote a script.
We've written a show.
800 pages.
We overdid it. But still, we've got a chance to get rich.
We've just got to make that pitch to the CEO who gives the go.
Cause he's the guy says yes or no to make it into a movie. So you see,
out the door, my friends, and follow me.
Hey, where are we going?
We're on our way to go see Mr. Plotz. Cause he's the man in charge who calls the shots.
He's really good, he's Hollywood, and no one can deny.
He knows the biz cause he's a whiz, and that, my friends, is why we're on our way to go see Mr. Plotz.
I hear he's got a plane and several yachts.
Cause he's successful, he's a genius, he's the man who has it all.
Got a Bentley in his driveway
and an Oscar on his wall. He's the guy that Steven Spielberg wants to know. I want to know.
He's Mr. Plotz, the Warner CEO.
And welcome once again to the Animaniacs. We are the only podcast out there that's dedicated to the animated television series, Animaniacs. And here we talk about the series episode by episode. We talk about all the cultural references, all the gags, stuff like that. And, of course, in the end, we give each episode a Water Tower rating. I am Joey, and joining me, as always, is my brother Nathan.
What are you talking about? Are you speaking rap?
And joining us across the country in Georgia, it's Kelly.
Hello.
Kelly is a little under the weather today, unfortunately.
Yeah, stupid sinus infection.
Blech. It's gross. But I'm glad you're here. We're all back. We took a week off last week because we were all like just under the weather, and it just... I'll tell you, there's a change of weather in the air, you know how it is. We're getting a little colder, and, bodies can't take it sometimes.
No, we're getting old.
Yes, we're getting too old for this stuff. But but we, sickness aside, we had it easy compared to some of the other folks, like in California. Nathan, just for those people listening way into the future, we're recording this in November of 2018, and what's been going on lately
there's been some wildfires burning up the forest. It's pretty big, and it's been super deadly. Unfortunately, it's really sad. So it's
the largest wildfire in California history, and actually multiple. The campfire one, and then. Oh gosh, what was the one in Malibu? That one called the Woozley, I think that one's called, right?
Yeah,
Woozley.
And then there's been a couple other ones. Yeah, it's a little scary, but I'm pretty safe where I'm at. So still, it's pretty bad.
Paul Rugg was sharing some footage on his Facebook account showing one side of his sky from outside of his balcony, sky blue overlooking the harbor, and then turning to the left and just seeing black smoke, and then like the smoke just canceling out the sun like an eclipse. It was so scary. But it was especially intense for one of our friends, Tom Ruger, who lives in just a little close to Malibu, in that area in the hills. And so he was very lucky, and the fire got close, but did not affect his house, luckily, and his neighborhood was spared. Thank goodness. But he, for the last few weeks, I've been like just frantically checking on his social media posts and updates and everything like that to see if he was okay and everything. So thank goodness he's perfectly fine and everything's fine. But oh boy, there's, our hearts go out to all those in California who are affected by all this, because it is just, it's bad stuff right now. And Rob Paulson, I know, has a house over in Malibu as well. And as far as we can tell, it looks like his house was okay, I believe. But it just affects so many people once you get down to it. Here's a quick post-recording update for everybody. Rob Paulson actually did do an update for everybody regarding his situation in Malibu. So here's what he had to say, and we're very thankful that it's good news.
Well, as usual, I have way more than my share for which to be thankful this Thanksgiving. This year is a little specialer. If you can see all that burned ground and torched stuff. See this palm tree right here? Yeah. Put a brand new telephone pole up in the last few days. Incredible work. But in particular, this is significant because you see the burn right in front of the face of that mountain there. But then you come right here. And that is our home. How about that? Literally about 25 feet from the flames. So, from a very grateful Southern Californian, happy Thanksgiving. I don't even know how to verbalize. This is a guy who makes his living speaking. How incredibly grateful all of us are here, to the firefighters, first responders, AT&T people, the gas company people, the people who fix your internet, all of that. These people are nothing short of heroic. These men and women jump right in. Incredible. Please, please, please send any donation you can to the Red Cross. I've seen them in action, folks, and as if you had to be reminded, they are the real frickin' deal. We are fine, but there are thousands who are not. So this Thanksgiving, if you got an extra $5 and you can get off the couch, grab your phone and send it to the Red Cross. All right? Happy Thanksgiving.
So our hearts go out to all the folks who are going through all that. So hopefully today's discussion about episode 95 might brighten things up, perhaps, for some. But before we get into all that, right now, we have to do a commercial. So Nathan, hit us with our very important commercial theme song.
This is a commercial for you to listen to. It's a commercial break, and we're gonna take it right now. Thank you.
All right. And our commercial, of course, is for tpublic.animaniacast.com. It's our TeePublic store, because the weekend that this episode comes out, they're having a huge sale on everything at the TeePublic store. So we have a collection of various Animaniacs, Pinky and the Brain, Spielberg and Star Wars designs that we like, and I threw in a few other ones too, like some Roger Rabbit stuff and Oswald the Lucky Rabbit and all that kind of stuff. There's just a lot of cool stuff. There particularly is a design that I know I'm going to be picking up, where it's a Haunted Mansion Animaniacs mashup called Foolish Mortals. And I showed that to you two a little earlier today. And Kelly, I know you saw it. What did you think about it?
I really liked it. I'm tempted to get it for myself.
I think I might have to get it in a pillow, perhaps, or because a part of me says, "Oh, it looked good on a shirt," but it might even look better as just an art print or something like that, Which I don't think there's an art print. I don't think the artist put it down as an art print, but I know you can get it as a pillow or a tapestry. Tapestry?
Tapestry?
No, what tapestries?
I am Mickey Mouse.
But you can get it as a pill.
That's a bigger word.
Yeah, exactly. Though I can't say the word tapestry without thinking of Last Crusade. So anyway. But there are tons of great designs. And these are designs, of course, that you're not going to find in the stores. In fact, this Christmas time, there's not really that many Animaniacs designs out there. I just got a Pinky and the Brain shirt from Kohl's. It was $10. It's a really cool Pinky and the Brain shirt, but there was like that big kind of Nathan and I did an episode about a year or two ago about all the different merchandise available, Funkos and all this kind of other stuff, but lately it's kind of been dry. There's not been a lot of new merchandise out there. So tpublic.animaniacast.com. Again, that's tpublic.animaniacast.com. It's really the place to go for all that kind of stuff. You can get some really cool designs, and you don't have to spend that much money. I mean, if you want to get a shirt, that's fantastic. But if you want to get just a sticker, that just costs a couple bucks. And of course, there's mugs and pillows and all that other stuff. So head over there and check out those deals. But that's not it. Because Nathan, where else could people go when they're, doing Cyber Monday shopping or something like that?
It's a little startup company. It's called Amazon. If you go to amazon.animaniacast.com as your homepage, a little portion of the proceeds, go to us, I guess. Just do your normal shopping that you would normally do. But just when you first go to Amazon, just go to amazon.animaniacast.com as your new homepage, and then it'll help us out.
Yeah.
It'll support the podcast.
Exactly.
It'd be awesome.
It'd be awesome. Yeah, we don't have those fancy things like Patreons and donation boxes and everything. But really to help pay for all the hosting costs it does for it takes for a podcast. We really appreciate the support that you guys give us through those links, both with TeePublic and Amazon, because, you're getting stuff that you would be buying usually anyway, and you're helping us out as well. So it's really a win-win situation, and we really appreciate your support. So let's go ahead and get into our discussion of today's episode 95, which is the first. It's actually part one of a two-part series, or two-part episode, I should say. It's called Hooray for North Hollywood. And Nathan, tell us, when was Hooray for North Hollywood Part 1? When did it first premiere?
All right, well, I'm glad you asked. This premiered on the same day as Hooray for Hollywood Part 2.
Oh. Well, what happened on that day?
The actual date was January 3rd, Saturday, 1998. And since there's two episodes, I'm just going to go over what some movies that came out since the last episode to air. So here's some cool movies that came out. So we had Starship Troopers. We had Anastasia.
I love Anastasia.
We had Alien Resurrection, Blubber, Good Will Hunting, Scream 2, Titanic, Tomorrow Never Dies, As Good as It Gets, and the best of the best, Spice World. There you go.
I've never seen Spice World.
It's not bad, actually. I mean, it's bad, but they do it good. How bad it is. They know it's a bad movie, so they're funny that way.
Oh gosh, these movies from the 90s, some of them just live on, but some of them really just fail miserably. But either way, they're kind of fun to watch to this day. Like Starship Troopers is so bad it's good. It's I saw the Riff Tracks version of that in the theater. It was a lot of fun, but I would not recommend seeing the movie necessarily. Well, I don't know if you're. I should never say that because
it's campy.
It's campy. You know what? And nostalgia really helps fill in the gaps of when a movie's bad. It doesn't feel that bad when you have nostalgia attached.
If you've never seen it before, you don't need to see it. It's not a movie you need to see.
Exactly.
You should see Anastasia, and it's now a Broadway musical.
And a Disney movie. Fox.
Not a Disney. Well, okay, whatever.
If Fox gets bought out by Disney, right? Won't it be?
But it wasn't. It's Don Bluth.
Yes. Yeah, I loved Anastasia. I remember seeing that in the theater with the family. That was so much fun.
When he says Das Vidanya at the end, is he saying goodbye in English?
Ooh, think about that. That's maybe because...
Or is he speaking like really Russian?
He was super Russian, and they could not translate him into...
Like, if only there was some word for Das Vidanya in English.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point, Ethan. I always don't think about that when it's like, oh, they're all supposed to be speaking Russian or German or French or whatever, but they're all speaking English, or they just have that accent going on. You know what I mean? Well, whatever. We'll have to see the Russian dubbed version of Anastasia to see if he just says goodbye at the end. Well, anyway, let's go ahead and get into our discussion of episode 95. And of course, it's Hooray for North Hollywood, Part 1. And Hooray for North Hollywood, Part 1 was written by Randy Rogel and Tom Ruger. And it was directed by a bunch of folks, because there's lots of different parts to this. Stephen Lewis, Herb Moore, David Pryor, and Kirk Tingblad, who has the coolest name, I think, of all the directors. Close second might be Adu Payton. Third place, of course, is John McClanahan. But I really like Kirk Tingblad's name, because Tingblad is such a cool name. Anyway. Well, we're going to go ahead and just talk about the basics of the segments, I suppose. Nathan, why don't you go ahead and start us off here? What happens here at the beginning of Hooray for North Hollywood, Part 1?
All right. Well, I guess we start off with a bus, and it drives off, and we see that North Hollywood doesn't look good. And then we look at Burbank, and that looks good. And then we're looking at some Goodfellas, and they're talking about clouds. Yeah, and they get in a fight because Pesto thinks it looks like an elephant and Squid thinks it looks like a snake. And then we go into the water tower and we see Yakko is busy typing, and he's writing a play, and
a screenplay.
A screenplay, I should say, yeah, yes. For a movie. And they just finished it, and now they got to go take it to Mr. Plotz, and that's where they head. Is that a good opening?
And then exactly. And then they sing a song about it.
They sing a song about it, and that's the end of Act 1, I guess. So.
And so, yeah, what did you guys think about this opening? Any highlights for you guys? I mean, I'll tell you about, some of the quick, I suppose, references. I mean, they mentioned in the song that Plotz hired Cecil B. DeMille, which, what? Cecil B. DeMille was like, who was he in charge of? Cecil B. DeMille was an American filmmaker between 1914 and 1958. He died in 1959. So, yeah, I don't know how apparently Plotz is incredibly old, but, which I guess makes sense now that I think about it, because he was the one who didn't he put the Warners in the water tower to begin with?
Yeah, I think so. I think it was around that time.
Plotz is really old.
30s, yeah. I think he was just starting off then.
Wow.
Or okay. Unless it was his dad. I don't know.
Oh, that's true. There might have been the whole dad thing going on. I don't know. He's ageless.
Yeah, it means he at least hired him right before he died. He might not have hired his first hiring job, maybe just his last gig.
These rejuvenation centers and plastic surgery centers in LA, they keep him looking short and old. So but what were some of the highlights for you guys for this first portion right here? Did you see anything, hear anything that you thought was really interesting or cool? Kelly, I guess we'll start with you.
Even Steven Spielberg.
Yeah, well, of course.
I was like, I know what Kelly's going to say, and if she doesn't, she was not paying attention.
I'm not that sick.
You have to be pretty sick to miss the pop-up of Steven Spielberg just popping up there.
The song they were singing about Plotz at first, it really sounded like they were singing about Steven Spielberg, because it was talking about what a genius he was, and he's got yachts and all this stuff, and he's an amazing person. This cannot be about Plotz. It must be about Spielberg. But then they mentioned Spielberg in the song, and they said, Plotz is the kind of guy that Spielberg wants to know, or something like that. And then Spielberg pops up, and I'm like, yay! But yeah, I was excited.
Nathan, what about you? What were some things that you thought were cool?
It was nice seeing the good feathers again. I haven't seen them in a while. And I liked the beginning of the song, We're on our way to see Mr. Plotz, before they left the water tower. And then I thought it got really dumb and I didn't like the song anymore. Except seeing Steven Spielberg was fine. But like, the whole concept of the song's weird. I'm like, it's not a great, I didn't like the melody of it very much, but also just like, why are they singing so much praise about Mr. Plotz? When have they ever been like, he's a genius? Like, I don't know if they're being sarcastic in the song or what, but like, it didn't come across like that, and it just didn't make sense to
me. It was just confusing to you why they liked him so much.
And I was just like, I would just cut the song, even though it is like, you know, furthering the plot, but still, I'm just like, I don't.
I see.
As soon as like they say in the water tower, like, we're gonna go see Mr. Plotz, and then they walk out and like, so where are we going? And like, we're gonna go see Mr. Plotz. I'm like, yeah, you were just saying that, like,
a lot.
Yeah, you were throwing darts at his face, saying like, oh, there's still the CEO. He's got to decide whether we should do it. So like, where are we going?
Well,
yeah, it's fine.
I saw lots of cool little, background stuff. Like when they were showing North Hollywood or Burbank in that general area. They're showing some of the stores. There was a used book and video store, which was kind of a seedy area that they were showing that. So it made me a little curious as to what specific books and videos were in there. But there was also a place called Rusty's Cutlery that said, need a knife quick? So I thought some of those background stores were pretty funny. I really appreciated that when we went inside the water tower, it was a big giant water tower again with a roller coaster and all that kind of stuff again. It was
bigger on the inside.
Hint, hint. TARDIS. And some of those posters were back up on the board again, like the Weed Memlo directed posters like Aunt Mispy Hyven and Oi My Rash and everything like that. Just seeing those up on the wall was just a nice bit of continuity that they kept around. So I appreciated seeing those, and I liked the song. It wasn't the best song, but I liked it. Well, then we move on to the second portion right here where they have to go, I guess, pitch it to Mr. Plotz. And Kelly, what happens here in this? They go into the offices, and what happens?
They realize there are a lot of people there wanting to do the exact same thing, and they have to take a number, and they're 9,999, and he's currently seeing number 3.
Are we next?
No, Wakko. Not even close.
You know the reason California schools scored so low in math?
Why?
You! Start going to class!
And the person that he sees is, he throws him out of the office and says he's never going to work in this town again. He's horrible. And this other guy goes shaking in there, and he throws him out too, and the guy breaks into a million pieces and smashes against the wall.
Boy, Mr. Plotz must have hated that script.
Actually, that one he liked.
So, they tell her that they want to see Mr. Plotz, and she says, oh, y'all are little Ewoks.
Hold, please. Mr. Plotz's office. Mr. Brando, please hold. The mayo.
Hi, we're here to see Mr. Plotz.
How darling! Ewoks!
Close, but no.
And they said, no, we're not Ewoks. And then Mr. Plotz throws out George Lucas, and he says, another Star Wars sequel, George, nobody wants that. And throws him out, which is funny. And so the lady gets stabbed because she says, no more Ewok movies.
Another sequel to Star Wars? Are you crazy? It's over, George. Now give it up.
Aw, too bad. No more Ewok movies.
We're not Ewoks, lady!
And, which I love the Ewok movies, by the way. They're amazing.
They are. I need to watch them again. They have their...
They're great.
Yeah, I remember that it got pretty dark there in that second one when like Sindel's brother like gets killed.
The whole
doesn't he?
family gets massacred.
The whole family gets killed.
They're dead.
After like the first movie focuses on having to rescue them from the Gorax, I think it was, that huge thing.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, that Gorax is canon now, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
It's so cool. They put it in the Forces of Destiny cartoon. And I was so happy. So there's definitely moments in those Ewok movies that have greatness in them.
And they have the Quaker oatmeal guy.
That's true.
Quaker Oats. It's the right thing to do.
But so they're like, well, no, we're not Ewoks. And Mr. Plotz asks her to come in and take some dictation, and she leaves. And so then they start answering the phone on the switchboard. And one of the first calls they take is from Sid Sheinberg, who I know the name. I don't know common knowledge to anybody else. But he was president of Universal Studios, and he's the one that saw Steven Spielberg's student film Amblin and signed him to a contract. It gave him his first job in 1968. And he really helped Spielberg pull together Jaws and E.T. and also had a big impact on Jurassic Park and Schindler's List. And, so really had a lot of influence and long-time partnership with Spielberg over decades of his career.
So if it wasn't for Sid Sheinberg, we would maybe not have it really. Spielberg may not have been successful.
Let's not even think about. I mean, that such a time does not exist because Spielberg is always successful. Even never mind. There's some. We don't talk about some movies because I love Steven Spielberg. So so then they are schmoozing all of the people that they're calling and talking to all sorts of famous people, really pouring on the compliments and saying you've never seen a script like this. This is amazing. And so they're doing the schmooze.
Sydney, sweetie, baby, you're terrific. Oh, my other line is ringing. Can you hold? Keanu, man, I flipped because I've got the perfect script, and believe me, you're the only one I've told.
Meryl, honey, darling, babe, I love you. It's a perfect part. There's no way you can fail. And that's because you're the best. You are way above the rest. And I understand you used to work for Scale. Eisner!
Michael Greenlight's right at 50 million. We're talking Costner, so we're shopping it around. You know, the lines around the corner, and they love it out at Warner. You don't want to be the guy who turned it down. You gotta do the schmooze, or else you'll wind up being yesterday's news. You gotta schmooze them while you're talking PR from the phone in your car. Be the guy who says that I can make you a star.
You gotta learn to schmooze. Tell everyone about your friend Tom Cruise. And say you recommended Cher for a part. You gave De Niro his start. And on The Simpsons you suggested that they call the kid Bart.
You did the meal, you closed the deal, you made an offer that they couldn't refuse. And that's the way that you schmooze.
Hey, I think I can do that.
Be my guest.
And then they finally get in to see Mr. Plotz. And he's there with Chicken Boo, his lawyer, but he doesn't know he's a chicken.
Still.
And yeah.
It's the third
Wakko,
time.
I think.
We schmooze or we lose.
Let's schmooze.
Plotzy, baby, you look terrific. Great tie. Is that new? I see you had the chicken salad for lunch.
That's not chicken salad. It's lasagna.
Hey, that diet's working.
And then they start trying to get him to take an interest in their script, and they really kind of try to make it sound good. It's like about a guy and a girl, but the guy loses the girl, and the girl, but then he meets another girl and loses that girl, and then that girl meets a guy, and then they lose each other, and then everybody's lost. And so he's like, does it have a happy ending? And they say, well, only if you pay us. So I'm not really sure if that was supposed to be a dirty joke.
I didn't think so, but I could see how it could be interpreted that way.
I mean, didn't do
Yeah,
good
no, I
night
think it's
to
just-
everybody.
I just think for them, like, everyone will have this story will have a happy ending as long as you pick up our script, I think is what they were saying.
As long as if you pay us, we'll be happy, kind of thing.
That's the innocent interpretation. I'm not sure. The way the line was delivered, it just made me question it. But, sometimes my mind's in the gutter. So then they start telling him about, they're like, oh, well, because they have another Spielberg reference that Spielberg will direct. And Plotz says, that's good, but not this movie. That's bad. The budget's been cut down, way down to size. He said, that's good. And they said, but it's still $100 million. That's bad. It'll win Oscars, or there'll be Oscars on the wall. Yes, it's good, but not for this movie. That's bad. So they keep going back and forth about that. And then, he finally kicks them out of the office.
Well, and then I think we're missing one thing, aren't we? Which is they sing a song, which has nothing really to do with their pitch at all.
No, it was completely forgettable.
What if we sang a song? That's bad, and then they sing a song. So it's just like, okay.
I mean, the song was good.
I like the song.
There are 50,000 different kinds of animals, and there are 50,000 more that used to be. There's 100 million ants and 500 million plants and a lot of fish down underneath the sea. There's gotta be a couple million spiders, 150 million butterflies and bees, and a bunch of different mammals like those elephants and camels, and approximately 50 billion trees.
But there is only one of you that makes you special. You stand out among the other things, it's true. Yes, the universe is large, and whoever is in charge made lots of things, but only one of you.
It had nothing to do with anything.
Well, this is where a lot of people, and I've seen online, like people say, "Oh my gosh, that is just like so like it just put in there to fill out the time and has nothing to do with it." And yes, perhaps, but for me, I had a flashback to Singing in the Rain, because in Singing in the Rain they do a very similar scene where they're talking about the Dancing Cavalier, right? They're talking about, this is the Dancing Cavalier, and we're going to...
It's the most pointless song in that movie. I always skip it.
Well, they go into this other story. He goes, it's going to have a short in front of it. And he goes into the whole thing about the guy going to Hollywood, and before you know it, you watch 20 minutes of Gene Kelly singing, "Gotta Dance," and doing all this scene. I personally...
That's all the lines of the song, too.
Gotta dance. Yeah, there you go. I'm glad I could memorize those lyrics. But I personally, I remember skipping that as a kid as well. I mean, we would just go, oh God, what does this have to do with anything? But
isn't that like that song in Willy Wonka where the mom sings a song and people skip over it? Because I've seen that on the internet, and I don't even remember that scene.
Well, she's talking about Cheer Up Charlie.
Cheer Up Charlie, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, that was the fast forward button came out. But as the years went by, I still fast forward the Cheer Up Charlie song, or the Candle on the Water for Pete's Dragon or something.
No!
Yeah, I'm sorry it happened.
What is wrong with you?
Well...
Do you also fast forward through When Love Is Gone from the Muppet Christmas Carol to Words Carefully?
Neverly. Never. I would never do that. But
that's an amazing song.
But it's all right. We're getting close to the Christmas time. Watch that DVD of Muppets. Anyway.
I already have tickets to see it at the Center for Puppetry Arts.
Ooh, I wonder if they're going to have the full uncut version.
No, somebody asked that in the comments, and I was like, oh man, I don't know, actually.
Because the theatric version doesn't have it, so I bet they don't.
I know.
I bet they don't.
That's why I don't own it on Blu-ray, because my DVD has both versions, and the Blu-ray only has the theatrical cut that I'm aware of.
Well, anyway.
So, no.
Well, this is all going to the point that sometimes there's additional songs in movies.
And sometimes they're good, and sometimes they are fast-forwardable.
Well, I don't think this song was fast-forwardable. It definitely works well by itself. Just like I think that Gene Kelly thing of, Gotta Dance and everything works well by itself. I like it a lot more as an adult than I did as a kid. I think it has some cool design elements and stuff like that. And this song is just really fun. It's performed live by Rob Paulson and Randy Rogel in Animaniacs Live, or Animaniacs in concert, as it were. But yeah, it's. What do you think about it, Nathan?
I really like the song. I don't think it fits in the episode necessarily, but it's probably like my favorite song in the episode, maybe even. I don't know. I
had no idea this was actually animated, because for years this was originally on the CD Yakko's World, which was I think the second Animaniacs album, if I'm not mistaken. And it was just on there, and I just thought, okay, that's just a song that they just did for the soundtrack. And I think it originally was, but they went back and animated it. So cool. Anyway, we got some decent Star Toons animation out of that and everything too. Well, the last section right here, let's see. Basically, they get kicked out of the office, so they do. They're out on the street and they're trying to find somebody to speak, to pitch their movie to
fund it.
To fund it, yeah. They have to do, and yeah, they're doing some crowdfunding. This is like original crowdfunding instead of GoFundMe or something for movies. Way before Zach Braff was doing this. The Animaniacs were doing it first. They were out on the street and they're holding out their cups. And of course, the Goodfeathers are sitting right above them on a line, and they think that they got a donation, but it was like Squid, I think, left a different kind of donation in their cup.
I'm not so sure this is working.
But anyway.
Gross.
They see a Jackie Mason kind of guy out on the street selling newspapers, and they start singing about variety speak. I think they also meet Bill Clinton as well out on the street as well, who also talks about a great way to get money is to do some real estate, and talks about renting a spare bedroom or something like that. And the Secret Service pulls him away.
Can you help us?
Sorry, but I prefer to invest in real estate.
Well, do you know how we can raise some big money fast?
Well, if you have a spare bedroom at home, you might try renting it out. Hey, did I say something wrong again? Uh-oh, Hillary's gonna whoop me for sure.
We were talking before recording today about how that was a really abstract joke, because there's the Whitewater scandal, which I know, Nathan, you were too young to.
Yeah, I was like, I mean, like, maybe in the, like when this aired, it wasn't as obscure, but like nowadays, it's you would have to be very politically savvy to like know these things.
Yeah, and
or I guess just around in that time. But.
Yeah, and for Kelly and I in high school and everything, it was just like one of those things that you heard that was going on, and people kept wanting to say it was like Watergate. It was like Whitewater scandal, and nothing really seemed to stick on that. Of course. The Clintons were never, as far as I know, really implicated in much of anything. And yeah, it's kind of funny that the whole real estate scandals and everything, it's like you put them into perspective of stuff that goes on since then. It's like, oh, wow, they really freaked out a lot about that stuff. And nobody freaks out about stuff today. How ironic. Mm-hmm. Anyway, so yeah, they sing a new version of variety speak.
In Hollywood, they have a certain way they like to talk. It's used by all the folks who can't chew gum and also walk.
It's found inside Variety, a movie magazine.
And everyone who reads it wonders what the headlines mean.
Like Mitch makes a pitch and he's gonna get rich.
Means someone's got a movie that's sold.
Brando's mad, said screenplay's bad.
Means someone else was offered the role.
It's called Fargo 2 with a story that's new.
Means they're gonna shoot it all in L.A.
The budget got maxed, so someone got faxed.
Everybody's on the carpet, so the writer got the axe.
Well, merchandise scores in the theme park stores.
And Disney is the king of the hill.
Michael Overton talks with 20th Fox.
Means he wants another 93 mil.
If you want the poop,
or you need the scoop,
on Hollywood Town this week,
you're gonna have to learn to talk that variety speak.
They mentioned some abstract kind of folks in this one. I mean, they have Bronfman, I think, with RCA, and the Bronfmans are a bunch of philanthropists / heiresses to the Seagram fortune, or I guess their father is the head of the Seagram alcohol company, something like that. I don't know. It's just very inside baseball stuff in this version of Variety Speak. Some highlights. I mean, I really like the Steven Seagal and Martin Short starring together in Mice and Men. At the end of it all, they say, "Hey, we should go see some celebrities. That's who we should go out to Beverly Hills and get our movie funded that way." So they all go, "Beverly Hills, here we come," and they run off, and we close out with the Goodfeathers. The Goodfeathers are talking about, what are they talking about this time?
The stars.
The stars.
There's millions of stars. Well, actually, billions of stars.
Billions and billions.
Yeah. They start fighting because
they start fighting. The fights of the Goodfeathers this time were not as good as they have been. Pesto got kind of upset about nonsensical. I mean, he always gets upset about stupid things, but I think in this case he really did get upset about some dumb stuff. But
I thought it would have been funny if in the first fight, like, it shows clouds in the background as they're talking. I thought it'd been funny if you see one that looks like an elephant and then one that looks like a snake. So they're like talking about two different clouds. It'd be like,
yeah, exactly.
Like, because I kept looking, I was like, well, what does it look like? Does it look like an elephant or a snake? Like, it'd be funny if,
oh well,
like, they're both right.
Well, that pretty much wraps it up for this first part right there. I mean, there's a few other quick things I'll mention. I mean, when it comes to references, because if I don't mention them, it'll drive me crazy. In the waiting room for Plotz's office, there are lots and lots of caricatures of people. He kicked out Joseph or Joe Esterhaus, who wrote the screenplay for Basic Instinct and Showgirls and a lot of other horrible movies. But also, of course, there's Roger Ebert, or I think it was his name, Egbert or something like that on Animaniacs. I'm not quite sure. He's the caricature of Ebert, Roger Ebert. There's a guy who kind of looks like Oliver Stone, kind of looks like Eddie Murphy, perhaps. He's wearing a red jacket that looks like Eddie Murphy's, stand-up red jackets. I
thought one of the guys kind of looked like Woody Allen.
Yes, Woody Allen I did see in there. Larry King was in there. Spike Lee. I don't know why Larry King would be pitching a movie to him, but whatever. Candace Bergen was in there from Murphy Brown and stuff. A guy who I think was Stephen King, who, yeah, sure. I mean, he might have a script to pitch. And of course there was other stuff on the walls too. I mean, there was like Little Beeper and Hampton and Buster from Tiny Toons. And there was also a picture of Freakazoid on the wall as well. So
yeah, it was colored really badly.
Horribly. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was more abstract. It was like an abstract version of Freakazoid right there. Or maybe that just shows you like how little Warner Brothers actually cared about the show Freakazoid. They didn't even, that Plotz didn't even know what Freakazoid was supposed to look like. I don't know, but
right.
Anyway.
It's basically his shape, and
yeah, sure, that's fine. Whatever.
He's red, right? I think his face.
And Nathan, of course, you did mention that whole when Plotz is mentioning about, are you speaking rap?
It's priced to move. Low 8 figures, non-negotiable, out the gate, in the bag, over the fence, through the woods, and to grandmother's house we go, babe.
What are you talking about? Are you speaking rap?
It reminds me, I have a very special rap thing coming up a little bit if everything goes as planned.
You're going to sing rap?
No, but we have an Animaniacs Christmas rap album from the 90s about Plotz that we're going to be sharing with everybody next month. So stay tuned for that. That should be a lot of fun. So where you can actually hear Plotz rapping. It is, well, I'm going to be nice and say it's not bad, but it's pretty bad. It's not terrible. But it's kind of bad. Well, let's go ahead and get to our water tower rating for this one. What do you think? Out of 5 water towers, how many would you give this episode? Nathan, what do you think?
Oh boy. Okay. Well, like if I'm just watching this one episode.
Yes, just this first one.
Right, and I had to just stop, and I'd be like, well, that's a weird way to end it. So yeah, I'll say 2.5.
2.5? Okay.
Because I'm like, what? That didn't really have any story. It was kind of a beginning and a middle, but there's no real end. So
All right.
There you go.
Okay. Kelly, what do you think?
4.
4?
Water Towers, yes, because it had Ewok references and a cameo by George Lucas and cameo by Steven Spielberg and Steven Spielberg references, and I liked all the songs. Nathan's right, though. There wasn't much of a cohesive story, really, to be the whole episode long segment, but I liked it. I thought it was really cute.
All right. I'm going to go ahead and give it 4 as well for all the reasons that you stated, Kelly. I'm not going to repeat anything as you mentioned all those great reasons right there. I'll just say ditto. But 4 for me, I mean, it is half of the story. And I guess this was originally going to be a movie originally, but then it had to get trimmed down to a 2-part episode. So it would have been interesting to see some of the original notes for this, if it could have been an actual, theatrical movie or something, maybe even. I don't know. That would have been really cool to see Animaniacs on the big screen. Well, whatever. It was not to be. Well, I think, one more thing we should mention that I thought was kind of cool. That was the whole, that's good, that's bad. Did you think about The Simpsons there, Nathan?
Yeah, I totally thought of The Simpsons, of course.
What was that part of The Simpsons where Homer kept saying that?
It was a treehouse of horror, I thought, right? And
yes, the
I think it was the doll,
maybe
the
crusty doll.
And then I like how the last one was
sodium benzoate.
And he's like,
"That's bad.
That's bad."
Yeah.
He has to tell Homer it's bad. It's so funny.
So yeah, The Simpsons did the joke first, but even they might be referring to something that we're not.
Yeah. And it's not to say that The Simpsons one is better. I'm just more used to The Simpsons one. This one was very good.
Yes.
As well. So they're both very funny.
The Zemeckis one. I like the Zemeckis one. The guy from accounting.
Spielberg's gonna direct.
That's good.
But not this picture.
That's bad.
But we've got Zemeckis.
That's good.
It's Freddie Zemeckis from accounting.
That's bad.
Anyway, very funny episode altogether. So, good solid episode, and we'll continue our talk of all of this next week. We'll wrap it up, and then we'll see how it is, I guess, as a whole next week.
That's good.
Well, let's go ahead and get to our poll results from last week. And, well, we had a question. Actually, last week, it was a few weeks ago. Whatever. You know what I mean. The question was, which of these is your favorite Pinky and the Brain cartoon? #Animaniacs. And the choices were, in third place, Don't Tread on Us with 11%. The Cranial Crusader was second place. They got 37%, but over half, 52% of the people who voted said it was The Brain's Apprentice. So, Kelly, Nathan, what do you think? Which of those 3 was your favorite Pinky and the Brain? Kelly, do you have a favorite?
I would probably go with Cranial Crusader.
All right. Why do you think that?
I just thought it was cute.
Good old Batman stuff.
Yeah, I like the Batman parody.
Okay.
Sounds like Slappy the Squirrel.
I know. She's starting to sound like Slappy at the end. The cold is starting to hit now. I like that guy.
Enough with the singing already.
Nathan, what about you?
That's a tough one. I guess I would go with The Brain's Apprentice just because it's so original. So, but the Cranial Crusader is a close second. But I'll say Brain's Apprentice is my favorite of the 3.
All right, and I will agree. I'll say Brain's Apprentice as well because it's just. I mean, I said it when we reviewed it. I think there's moments to that, or they're just beautiful. I mean, just the music and the animation together in it. It's not the. I wonder if they just gave this that segment like a good big budget. Like I could see that like as a huge big screen thing going on, and Yeah, Brain's Apprentice for me. So totally. Well, Nathan, what is our poll question for this week?
All right. Well, we had some songs in today's episode. We had 4 songs actually, and I guess the question is, which of those 4 songs was your favorite from Hollywood? Hooray for Hollywood Part 1. So we have first song was "We're on our way to go see Mr. Plotz." I don't know if you'll be able to fit that all in the.
I'll shorten it a little bit.
Yeah, find some way to. And then you got to do the schmooze. Is when they talking to Arnold Schwarzenegger and all those people. It's very funny. There's only one of you. It's the spiders but there's millions of spiders, but only one of you. And then Variety Speak, but the second version of the song,
version 2.
Yeah,
V2 or something. I don't know.
2.0.
2.0. Well, you can let us know what you think. Go ahead, head on over to twitter.com/Animaniacast, or simply search on Twitter for #AnimaniacastPoll, and you can make your voice heard. Well, it's that time again. Let's go ahead and get to our contact information. Kelly, where can people get in contact with you online?
They can email me, Kelly at BigShinyRobot.com, or I'm on Twitter at Yoda Princess, YODAPRNCSS.
Send cough drops to Yoda Princess on Twitter, please.
Yes, please.
And Nathan, what about you?
I am on Twitter 24 hours a day. Django FT, that's me.
You have a problem, Nathan. Well,
I can't sleep.
Well, you can go ahead and reach us at the Animaniacast. Of course, we're on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, and every now and then on Reddit. Reddit's okay. But you can also email us, animaniacast@retrozap.com. Check out our archives at animaniacast.com. We are a proud member of the RetroZap podcast community. Check out RetroZap's podcast feed, where you can listen to this podcast, as well as all the other podcasts that RetroZap puts out, whether it's Star Wars, pop culture, movies, video games, just anything under the sun. All the entertainment's right there, retrozap.com. And of course, if you want to go and hang out with us over at our Discord channel, you can go to discord.animaniacast.com and you can join the RetroZap group. It's a wonderful, positive community, and hey, check it out. We'd love to see you and talk to you. Well, that'll do it for today's episode. So, for Nathan and Kelly, this is Joey saying good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
This podcast is not endorsed by Warner Brothers or Amblin Entertainment and is intended for entertainment and information purposes only. Animaniacs, the Warner Brothers logo, all names, pictures, and sounds of the Animaniacs characters or any other Animaniacs-related items are registered trademarks and or copyrights of Warner Brothers, Amblin Entertainment, or their respective trademark and copyright holders. All original content of this podcast is the intellectual property of the Animaniacast unless otherwise indicated.
That's bad. That's good.